welcome everybody. Tucson Acres here. So this is a little bit different than what I normally do. Usually you see me doing my own projects and such, but my good buddy is here. He's doing a cross-country trip, and he's got a really cool setup. I think it's called Van Life, right? Van Life. Got a Dodge Caravan that he basically turned into a mini RV. So we're going to take you through all the little modifications he did to it and just have fun with it. You ready?
Yeah, so this is, in the van life thing, it's known as, the way I did this as a one-person camper van is a no-build camper van, meaning that everything that I did to it can be taken back to stock. No, not once did I drill a hole in any of the interior panels, into the roof for the solar panel, into anything. So this can go right back straight to Soccer Mom and be back to a normal minivan if you want to turn it back. So they refer to that as a one-person camper van. They refer to it as a no-build because they're not doing any modification to the structure of the vehicle.
All right, well, let's start with that cool function. Everything pops open at the same time, more or less. Side doors, there goes the trunk, the hatch. All right, where do you want to start, Hoss?
Just figure we start at the front.
Okay.
So, not too much in the front of the van. One of the cool things to see about that I got set up is even if you're not van life, and this is just like a really cool product, believe it or not, it is actually known as the stupid car tray. And that's just a little tray. It's got some cubbies and compartments, and it just sits in here. It's got some legs to where it makes your front seat sit level.
Nice.
And quite literally, it is called the stupid car tray. And that thing just gives you a nice place to set stuff on your passenger seat so it's not all tipping with the angle of the seat. So from there, I've got, some of them are tucked in the back, but I got a full, you can buy a full set of window shades. It's a lot simpler than actually trying to make them or anything like that. There's a lot of videos that make them, but these are from WeatherTech, and they have a spot for all 8 windows. Just a full set for the backs and the sides and everything else.
So you can black out. Why would you want those?
Just to make sure that, one, it can help keep heat out, or it can help keep heat in, depending on what your environment is. But then it also makes sure that, it sounds kind of crazy, but one of the things they call it is stealth camping. So like you could just pull up on the side of a residential street, hop in the back of your van, and be sitting in there on the side of the street, and nobody can tell that anybody's in there. It just looks
blackout, basically.
Completely blacked out.
Okay.
So I've got maximum tint on all the windows. And if you notice that, just in general, everything that I put into the back of the van for the most part is all black.
Yeah.
So it makes it even harder to see, even if the shades aren't up there, just with the window tint. If somebody's walking by in, you know, a shopping center parking lot or something like that,
Can't really see what's in it.
you even look in through the window, you can't even really see that it's set up with a bed and a TV and all that stuff. We'll
Yeah.
get to that in a minute.
If you had to guess, how much do you have invested in everything that's in the van? Like, you wouldn't want it walking away.
It's not too awful bad. I got the van as a 2016 Grand Caravan,
Yeah.
and I picked up the van medium miles for about 15,000.
Okay.
And then probably all totaled, I probably have 4,000 or 5,000 into everything, maybe even a little less than that. So it's under 20,000 to put the whole thing together.
So honestly, somebody could get an older van or with more miles, you know, for 5,000 and have maybe 10K into it total. But
Exactly.
like you just said, WeatherTech. I know WeatherTech's expensive. I'm sure you could get something similar or even make your own.
Well, you can. There's
For
a lot
the
of videos
block
out there to make your own. The
Yeah.
WeatherTech, the full set, I think was like $200.
Oh, that's not bad.
No, it's
Yeah.
not like it's crazy expensive.
All right.
So
What's next?
So that's pretty much it for up front. I went ahead and, I wanted to have something to do if I was sitting around.
Yeah.
And so I fabricated a mount with, it's called RAM, I believe, products. And so it's just a dog bone here. Then you get a dog bone mount that's got a ball joint. And then the same company sells a TV mount with a bone on it. And you can loosen this and adjust that anywhere you want it. It's a 24-inch TV. And then I've got it set up to a Blu-Ray player here so that I can sit and watch movies. I've got a HDMI cable set up that if I want to plug it into my phone and not necessarily stream, but just run HDMI from my phone to play something on the TV.
You can do like YouTube then.
Yeah, watch YouTube TV
Yeah.
or watch anything else that you can have on your phone.
Nice.
Then the Blu-ray player is sitting on top of, this is a Bouge RV refrigerator freezer. So inside you can set up, it's got a large compartment side and a small compartment side. I currently have this side as normal, would be set up as a freezer. So keeps things frozen on that side, keeps drinks and stuff cold on this side. I don't do much for cooking while I'm in the van, I just eat out. But if you wanted to keep, anything to actually do some cooking in here, you could keep that in
just,
there.
cheese and lunch meat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the cool thing about this one is, depending on what your needs and what you want it to do, you just set the temperatures from one side to the other, and you can have the entire thing be a refrigerator or the entire thing be a freezer.
Nice.
So you can make this whole thing keep things frozen.
So you haven't been driving a whole lot since you've been here. Now, when you're on the road, you're driving for hours and hours a day, so obviously charging everything isn't an issue. But sitting here, has that thing drawn a lot on the battery pack that you got?
The battery's never gone below 83% overnight.
Okay.
Since I've been here and
So-
not really driving it much.
So the fridge freezer doesn't really have that much of a draw.
No, the fridge freezer doesn't have a ton of draw. So right now it can either be powered by 110 off a wall outlet, or it can be powered off of 12 volt off of a cigarette lighter adapter.
Yep.
So right now it's set up to run off the cigarette lighter adapter, and it is. We'll get into the solar power and solar battery pack and stuff here in a second.
Okay.
But one of the other little things, and it works okay, but this is one of the fun little contraptions I built. So I took a Coleman cooler, got one about the size that I wanted, and then cut a hole in the lid here and a hole in the lid here. Got a piece of 90 PVC pipe that just comes out so you can direct which direction you want it to go. And then just got a fan.
Oh yeah, you can feel it blow out of there real good.
So if it's not too awful hot, I just throw it in there like that with a fan, and it just keeps air circulation.
Yeah.
So I use it as a fan also. But the other thing you can do is just pop the lid off, throw a couple of bags of ice in there, close it back up, and you got like a little mini swamp cooler.
Yep, a little portable AC.
Yep, a little bit of an AC. Works pretty good. There's some
Nice.
other more expensive options out there. $400 or $500. You can get similar ones that maybe do a little more of an efficient job.
Yeah.
But this one works fairly well. And then
Probably a total of what, $80?
if that.
20, $30 for the cooler. The fan's probably 30,
and
$40.
yeah, and that's almost nothing.
Yeah, a little bit of RTV.
Yeah, just sealed it in there.
Yep.
But when I'm just driving it around, I take it down and throw it in the seat. We'll get to talking about that in a second. And then at night, it just drops in here and sits perfect, laying on the armrest.
Just out of the way, so you have.
Just out of the way, and then it can sit there and
That'd be a good place for it to
blow
run
fresh air.
too. Yeah.
Yeah. And you can just charge it up off the USB. So I got a mattress cot set up. So It's just a foldable metal frame mattress that sits on there. Okay, found a set of drawers, I believe, at the Container Store that have just the right dimensions to fit perfectly in there, get maximum width, and those drawers pull out from the other side.
Yeah.
And then a couple extra storage crates. But yeah, just a nice 6-inch foam, trifold foam mattress along with the frame. And then I just took the frame, set it into the van, and measured it out using a bubble level and everything else, and had to cut a few of the legs.
Okay.
So that it would sit completely level, because the van's floor, even with the seats out of the way, is not completely level.
Yeah.
So I had to make a couple of cuts on the middle legs to where the whole thing would sit perfectly flat.
All right.
And then when it comes to driving around, you just have to try to find a parking spot that's fairly flat, and you're good to go. So from there, I built a set of curtains. So it's not like I say, the mounts are just kind of poked into the trim.
Yeah, I see it.
So as you pull the curtains out, the mounts are just kind of poked into the trim, and I got these covered up, and I got a mount in the center here, and that just, take those out there.
Yeah, I'm betting WeatherTech doesn't make a divider.
No. This you have to have some ingenuity, but I just tucked this back here.
Yeah.
And that keeps the
close up of this. So we've got a little, looks like just a curtain rod bracket.
This is just a standard
curtain rod bracket,
curtain
right?
rod.
I can see the curtain rod itself was bent.
Yeah, I made a twist in that.
This here is bent to match the contour of the roof, but
then I got another bend up here.
The curtain rod holder bracket is just tucked in the trim, and kind of.
Like I say, I've had to put a 90 bend in those brackets.
Yep, same thing up here. And obviously the other side's the same.
And the other side's the same. So, and it is just a curtain rod and a couple of blackout curtains. You know, get your measurements. I don't remember the exact size, but a couple of blackout curtains on, I think I got those off, all that stuff off of Amazon. And then just
fold them up, tuck them away. Roll them up a little bit, yeah.
Everything just tucks out of the way. And
nice.
So, no problem there. But the curtains are really nice. I usually throw the sunshade up. I've gotten to where I don't bother putting the WeatherTech on the side shades.
Okay.
I have them for the side shades.
Well, if you draw your divider curtain up and you're just sleeping, you don't need anything in the front.
Yeah, but I mean, it's completely light. It's 100% light tight.
Okay.
That curtain, I can have my lights and everything else going.
And not see it from the outside?
No.
Oh, wow.
Nothing. Especially with, like I say, the blackouts on everything else. And it runs. And there's been some times, like I lived down in Phoenix, and my first couple of day trip, I was going down to Tucson, and that little cooler, when it doesn't get below 90 overnight in Tucson in the summer, wasn't cutting it. So I just wound up having to just let the van idle with using the van's AC all night, and it worked just fine.
Yeah.
I mean, burned about 1/8 of a tank of gas doing that, but
still, it's better than sleeping in 90 degrees.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool.
One of the other things that's just 100% required, and these I got from WeatherTech. There's different brands that are maybe cheaper and stick on, but you know, for a little bit of extra money compared to the cheaper ones, I think the WeatherTech ones are worth it. But these are 100% a necessity for doing that, and that's these rain shields.
Yeah.
Here and up here, because then at night, whether it's raining or anything else, you can have the windows cracked to get a little airflow and circulation.
Okay.
So the windows can be cracked. And the thing about these, when the windows are cracked with these, you can't tell that the windows are cracked. So like somebody walking by, if the windows are cracked down, you know, an inch and a half.
I mean, unless you're 2.5 feet tall, looking up there, you're not going to see that.
Just walking by it, you're not going to see that those windows are cracked.
So tell me about this job up here.
All right. So
you got one of those deflectors up there too, I see.
Yeah, that's kind of my own kind of idea. Let me grab the stool here. Give the camera a little bit of assistance.
If you want, you can stand on that and I can jump up here and do closer, or you can just take the whole thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, all right.
I know what I'm pointing at.
Oh, okay.
So this is a Bouge-RV 200 watt solar panel that I put up top here. I taped off and painted everything semi-gloss black just so it's a little less noticeable. It just looks like a extension of the roof rack or something like that. It's not as noticeable as when it was all silver.
Yeah.
So I got that painted so it's walking by it, you don't even hardly notice that it's a solar panel up there.
Same thing with the crossbars here.
Crossbars.
Painted those.
Yep, painted those. So those are aluminum bar stock, whatever, 1 inch by
like 1 inch by, no, that's eighth.
1
1
inch
inch
by
by
8.
eighth. Yeah.
And so I took those, measured everything out. The solar panel's bolted to the crossbar just bolts into the factory. Again, not drilling any holes in the roof or anything like that.
Yeah.
And then underneath, where it kind of touches the roof a little bit in the center, I've used strip insulation.
Yeah.
Strip insulation with just an adhesive back on it, and put that as a cushion between the panel and the...
Doesn't seem to move much.
No, it's pretty solid.
No flex whatsoever.
Yeah, so I've got that back here, but then just because the way it sits and catching wind, I went ahead and measured out and got a...
It's like a sunroof deflector.
It's a wind deflector for the front of a sunroof.
Yeah.
It doesn't have a sunroof, but I just measured one that fit the right direction all the way around.
Yeah.
And that acts as an air dam for the front of the solar panel. And I've had a friend of mine, when I first got it all together, doing 80 miles an hour driving down the freeway, driving behind me, next to me,
Yeah.
looking to see if there is any movement, and it doesn't move. It all does the job. So that wind deflector for a sunroof works perfect.
Well, I'm betting as well, at least I know on the Jeep, we got the crossbars with the tool luggage rack, and it's noisy.
No,
so I'll bet this takes a lot of that wind noise out of it as well.
You don't hear that solar panel any wind noise up there at all.
That's awesome.
100% zero.
Cool.
And then from over here, again, not wanting to drill any holes or anything like that, so I just wire tied everything really nice and tight and brought the wires for the solar panel in here, some Gorilla Tape keeping it down, dropped it right in through here. I didn't want to mess with the weather stripping for the door, so I just brought these wires all the way down here. Then they tuck into the tail light, and then from there they follow the tail light wires into the van. They come out right under behind here, and from there I tucked them underneath the trim, you know, just shoving it from the carpet up the trim,
Yeah.
all the way up to where it comes out on this side.
Yeah, there they are.
And then of course made a standard loop. You know, you don't want to cut your wire, never want to cut your wires the exact length you want it, because in case something needs to move or change or anything. So coming in here, made an extra loop, contractor loop, and came around, and then I wired it into a solar junction box.
Yeah.
So this right here, because the solar panel never there's no off switch for a solar panel. If the solar panel is getting hit by light, it's creating electricity in these wires.
Yeah.
So I wanted a way to, at least to this point, isolate it. So all I have to do is take this switch, click it to off, and now the solar power is isolated here and the circuit's completely broken.
Do these wires ever get warm?
No.
No. Wow.
No, these...
Well, then again, it was only like 50 degrees last night here, so.
Well, and even though it's creating electricity, it doesn't do anything. So that's how I can turn off the solar panel, and be able to isolate it. But pretty much just leave it on most of the time.
Nice.
Then this particular van also has its own inverter. So it has its own inverter for a 110 outlet. So that's the 110 outlet right back over here. And it's got a switch on the dash that can turn that on.
Oh, damn.
So if it's at night, I've got, this is the inside the house 110 outlet, right, for charging the battery. And we'll come around to the other side to show the battery.
Okay.
But this will charge the battery off the 110 just like it was plugged into the house charger. So that's how it can charge when I'm driving at night or something like that. That's just running and charging.
Nice.
This particular battery is also Bouge RV, and it cannot take this charge from the solar panel and the wall outlet at the same time, but it will dual charge. It will dual charge from a two-way USB-C. So it'll get about 30 amps of charge anytime the van's running on USB-C, and that's what this other red wire is coming through here from the rear cigarette.
You get 30
lighter.
amps through a USB-C?
Watts.
Oh, 30 watts. Okay.
Right. So 30 watts charging off a USB-C.
I gotcha.
But no matter whether it's charging from the solar or the battery pack, if the van's running, that USB-C will dual charge with either of those.
Oh, okay.
So that gives it just a little bit extra, so it's not wasting any time that the van's running to keep the battery charged up. And we'll go around to the other side. Just like I say, for finding places for tubs to use up any space that you have available.
Yeah.
And
That fits perfect.
yeah, just measure stuff out. Like I say, stuff like the Container Store is a really good place because you can just take measurements, walk around until you find something.
I don't think we have one of those local here.
Probably not. So on this side, so again, another tub that just fits in its hole. But coming in here, this is the power pack. So this is the input from the wall charger, from the car's inverter, van's inverter. This is the solar. This is the solar input. So see how those are coming into the same deal. That's why I can only take one of those at a time.
Yeah.
And right now that I'm getting 125 watts currently just from the solar panel. So 125 watts charge just from the solar panel. And it's at 93%, so even after running that refrigerator all night, it'll be back up to 100% in a couple hours. But then from there, I've got this DC input goes to just an external cigarette lighter adapter to go to the refrigerator. This one comes over to just like a standard power charge port that has some extra USB-C slots, some extra
So you like plug your phone in it.
yeah,
right?
so
Stuff
regular
like that.
USB, micro USB, and that's where I charge my phone, charge the fans, charge the lights, and all that. One of the things that I found out in Tucson is that when it's hot, I kind of wasted an entire day of charging off the solar panel because it got too hot inside the van, and especially with this tucked down here.
There's an auto shut off.
Yeah, so it's got an overheat shutdown for the it won't accept a charge or anything from there. So that's why I added this fan here and just have this fan, and it's just charging straight off, just charging straight off of a USB slot there, and that fan keeps air circulation because of the way the battery's tucked in there with all the totes and crates and refrigerator.
Really no actual airflow.
Yeah, so that helps pull some airflow through there to keep the battery cool, and I haven't had that problem since.
Cool.
So that works out really well. And then plus I threw the lid for that crate I threw under the battery just so that it's not sitting on carpet. So that lets a little hard surface lets a little airflow come out from underneath the battery also, instead of sitting on the carpet.
Cool.
And I just carpeted all of this stuff with just bought a utility carpet for $20 from Costco.
Yeah.
And cut it to fit all the way around the whole thing. Couple of jugs for water. This dude right here, I got this thing off of Amazon, and I've so far bought about 5 or 6 lights, and I don't know if you can get that, but I got that off of Amazon.
Yep, got it.
And this is the greatest little light you can ever imagine. I mean, it just gonna be hard to see during the day, but it's got light.
Oh, you can see it.
Got 3 tones of light, whichever one you like.
Mm-hmm.
And it just recharges. It's just simple. But the thing about this one is, it is the perfect amount of light without being too bright. It's diffused really good. Small, convenient, easy, but this is just really good. And then I just threw a
nice little hook in there.
Just threw a command hook right there, and it just hangs right there, and there's your chandelier.
Perfect.
I've got another light here on just hanging up there, just a stick-on light.
Yeah.
Push button.
It's like your standard Home Depot wall light.
Then over there on that side, I haven't really ever had to use it, but I have it just in case, and that's a bug zapper light. So that, if I get wound up with some bugs, I can just turn that thing on, and it's also a regular white light, but it turns on a purple light, and it's a little mini bug zapper. So I grabbed one of those. I think I got that at Costco.
Yeah, and we got the clothes rod. Is that one with the van?
No, I bought this clothes rack, figured out exactly where I wanted it to do. It is in the perfect spot to hit your head on at least 5 or 6 times crawling around inside the van every afternoon. It's perfect, but there's just, without drilling holes or anything, there was really nowhere else to put it.
Hooks are for, isn't it?
Yeah.
From the factory, that's what the car factory, that's what those hooks are for.
Yeah, but just to hang clothes directly there.
Yeah,
So, getting in and out of bed when I've got a duffel bag with some of my stuff, and then I've got my clothes hanging up there and this bin. So it's really just as simple as taking the cooler, throwing that up there. Then I take a couple of duffel bags, throw them in the seat, and then slide the clothes all the way to this side to get in bed. And then slide them to the other side, put the stuff on the bed, and be able to sit on this side to watch TV. So back here in the back, I wanted to keep the storage space where the rear seats fold down into this storage area, or down into this cavity, and I wanted to keep the cavity for a storage area. So the only part that I actually unbolted and removed was this is a 60/40 rear bench. I took the large side completely out, that's what fits the bed, and then left this side up to be able to sit on to hang out whenever.
It's your lazy boy.
Yeah, that's my recliner. And then, so just got some little things, first aid kit, box of fuses. This is one of the little jump start packs to be able to jump start in case you forget to do something and kill your battery. So, got a couple of those in there. Then, for the most part, everything else I had to take. So this took a little bit of engineering here. So this would normally sit flat. These would swing all the way up and be straight vertical.
I got you.
So what I did, and these bars here clip into this slot. So what I did is I got the angle right to where on this side it just hits up, rests up against this little ledge from the back of the seat. Got that turned out to be about the right height. Didn't have to cut or anything on that. And then, or no, I did cut that. Cut that.
Just the bar, not the vehicle though.
The bar, yeah, just the bed frame.
Yeah.
And then this here, I put in screws on the sides here to put those in a different spot to support support the angle. And then I used some channel steel and bolted that in so that it can go down and hit up against.
Let's see if I can get a better shot of that.
So it just goes down and hits up against the back of the cavity to where that, and it keeps this backside pretty solid, and I'm able to use the storage space.
Okay. So what storage space are you talking about?
So, my golf clubs.
Here, why don't you switch me sides? I think the lighting's better over here.
My golf clubs will slide right up underneath this bed here.
Yeah.
Right up underneath there, will slide right in there, so that's no problem for the golf clubs. But then I took some more of the carpet, laid that on here, and covered up my, it's not a Pelican case, I don't like spending that kind of money, but I've got a case here to be able to hold anything that I want to lock up. Whether it
locked, got it.
Yeah, so I got 2 locks on it. Whether it's firearms, valuables, anything that I want to lock up. This thing is cable locked. These cables coming up here, these are cable locked to both sides and cabled to the seat supports for the seat that I took out, and those are both anchored straight to the frame of the vehicle. So then I just use this piece of carpet.
How much further forward does that opening? Well, I guess it would go right to the back side of those support legs there.
Yeah, right here.
So okay.
So the opening goes to there.
Yeah. Okay. So you got a little tote over there.
Yeah.
So basically, how deep is that? Probably another 8-10 inches in depth.
Yeah, because this is a pretty.
Yeah, it's a pretty thick case.
That's a pretty thick case.
Yeah.
Wanted a lot of room. So that sits down in there, but then when you set that down,
you can't even tell it's there.
Right. It just looks like the same carpeting. It's just the same carpeting from up front. Like so when it's laying there, you don't even know anything's there.
If we set this bed back down, you can look down here, and that just looks like the bottom of the trunk area.
Yeah. So it pretty conceals it pretty well.
Yeah. Don't even know that something's under here.
And then using some extra storage space for extra stuff up front there, I've got
lots of extra storage space there.
Tons of extra storage. So I got one of the DeWalt 200 or whatever piece tool sets. It's got sockets, ratchets, screwdrivers, pliers, the whole 9 yards. Are all those DeWalt. They're really well packaged.
Yeah.
And are really convenient if you need to get to them.
So it's really a good place for loose storage under here because you got a little bit more height. You can stack stuff in, but like I was just thinking initially you could take like a long tote or even a chunk of 1x material and slide it from this support bar to the next one and have a secondary, but you kind of need a place for loose storage.
Right, and that's what that is.
Yep.
My competition belts and stuff like that can just sit
things
up
that are
there.
oddball and hard to take up space no matter what.
Yeah, so
it's the catch-all.
Yeah, and it's obviously for stuff that you're not going to be getting into very often.
Yeah.
So stuff you're not going to use very often. And then, like I say, for the most part, the rest of it is just works really well. I will tell you that some truck stops are okay, but the secret to this is actually Cracker Barrel parking lots. Nationwide in the entire chain, Cracker Barrel is completely open and welcoming to any overnight parking. And then when you wake up in the morning, you have a great place to have breakfast.
That's probably why they do it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And
I never knew that though.
There's been plenty of times that I pull in, have dinner, then park the van, then wake up and have breakfast. So
that's a good strategy.
They get 2 meals out of me.
For them, that's a great strategy.
And some places are hit and miss, like the unnamed place that I boycott for the last 2.5 years.
Kind of sounds like Wally World.
Yeah, Wally World, something like that. They used to be overnight parking okay, but now I've never checked or tried because I don't go there. But I've heard from a lot of people in other van life stuff that it's kind of 50-50 now. They don't even really necessarily allow overnight parking all the time either. So the nationwide policy for Cracker Barrel. So if you're rolling in at 11, 12 o'clock at night, you can go into a Cracker Barrel parking lot, park, and nobody's going to bother you. It's 100% across the board nationwide for Cracker Barrel. So, and even truck stops. A lot of times truck stops won't allow overnight parking unless it's a commercial vehicle, like a semi-truck. So they won't even allow something like this for overnight parking.
Yeah.
So even truck stops and stuff like that are hit and miss. Rest areas hit and miss, all of that kind of stuff. So,
any other last little tips here? I think we covered the whole van, front to back, top to bottom.
Yeah, I don't think we missed anything. And like I say, it works out really well. You know, maybe.
Yeah. And obviously everything is customizable to what your needs are. You know, if you're more than one person or if you have different hobbies, you know, like he needs to fit golf clubs in the back, so you got to have a good spot for that, which he's got. But, you know, say you got lacrosse gear or who knows.
Well, the other thing is that you can also, if you wanted to build something like this, you can go ahead and get rid of that second seat. You'd lose the place to sit, but then I've seen videos where this size van will hold a full-size mattress.
Yeah,
So you could,
yeah. If you
it
didn't
won't,
want,
it won't do a queen, but
Yeah,
the
but
width of this in between here
Yeah.
will hold a full-size mattress.
yeah. So if you don't really
if you
care
have-
about having a recliner and a place to kneel while you're changing, you know, or
Yeah.
eat or whatever, I suppose you could, you know, sit and eat out of the front seat and put a little TV or something up here if you wanted. But
Yeah, but you can have, and some people build, they don't do anything to the van, but they build just, instead of buying a cot frame like I did, they build a wood frame, because with those trifold mattresses, you can build a wood frame that will slide up on a track,
oh yeah,
and so it goes
that
from
opens up a lot of
from a
space.
bed here, and then just slides up like that,
Yep,
and then it turns into
a recliner.
It opens the entire thing and
Yeah.
then turns it into a recliner.
Yeah,
so you
nice.
can just sit on it.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of videos of people that have done that.
Well, do me a favor. Let's close up here, and we'll do a little close in on the last part of a bumper sticker here we got.
Down by the river.
I know there's already lots and lots of videos about this. Just, you know, set up different for everybody, depending on your purposes. Please feel free to like and subscribe. And any last things?
If you don't get the reference for that down by the river, look up living in a van down by the river.
Google it.
And leave your comment below on how much you enjoyed watching that video.
All right. Thanks, guys. Have a good one.